Good morning, students. Last class we started with chapter 1, power sharing, wherein I explained you the definition of power sharing, and we did the case studies of two countries, Belgium and Sri Lanka. I explained you that there was diversity in both the countries, but both the countries handled it in a very different way. Belgium handled it by creating a third level of government and giving equal representation to the people in parliament, whereas Sri Lanka only promoted one community, which led to civil war in the country. Okay, so anyways, I'll explain it further. I'll start with the topic majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Majoritarianism is a belief that the majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants by disregarding the wishes and needs of the minority. Majority means the people who are more in number, and minority means the people who are less in number. So majoritarianism is a ideology that believes that people who are more in number, people who are powerful, they should be able to rule the country, and the belief of the people who are less in number or their values should be suppressed. Now, this is something what was followed in Sri Lanka, and that is under the topic majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka emerged as an independent country in 1948, somewhat very close to the independence of India. The leaders of the Sinhala community sought to secure dominance over government by virtue of their majority. As a result, the democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures. So majoritarian measures means the measures adopted to establish the supremacy of the people who are more in number. That is, the government favored the people who were in majority, and especially if you see Sinhala supremacy. That is the official language. So in our country also we have majority and minorities, but surprisingly in our country there is Article 29 and 30 in our constitution, which is a specifically right to minorities. Specific right given to minorities. That is the fundamental right. No one can take it away. But in Sri Lanka, if you see, they are establishing a constitution, they are establishing changes to promote the wishes of majority. In 1956, an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as the official language, thus disregarding Tamil. So you are clearly giving an indication that we are following preferential policies. We are preferring the people who are in majority. The government followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. A new constitution stipulated that the state shall protect and foster Buddhism based on religion, and you are disregarding the other section of the society. So the first change was Sinhala was made the official language. All the important university positions and government jobs were given to the people who were Sinhala applicants. And clearly the constitution stipulated that the state will protect and foster. Foster means to promote, actually to rear and bear. Like we are fostered by our parents. In the same manner, Sri Lanka clearly gave an indication that we will protect and foster Buddhism. In India, we never come across this kind of situation. Maybe people would say that this political party has a bent towards Hinduism, but that bent towards Hinduism is very implicit. It's never explicit. No way or no day Mr. Modi can stand on a platform and make some changes in the constitution and say that from today we will protect and foster Hinduism. Because our preamble talks about equality, our preamble talks about secularism, that is equal right to all the religion. All these government measures coming one after the other gradually increased the feeling of alienation among the Sri Lankan Tamils. Alienation is when you start feeling strange, when you start feeling as if you are in some other country. Alien means foreign, कोई बाहर से आने वाला. तो वहाँ पे जो तमिल्स रह रहे थे, they started feeling that we are not a part of this country, because everything was being done for whom? For the people who were in majority. They felt that none of the major political parties led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders was sensitive to their language and culture. They felt that the constitution and government policies denied them equal political rights. Of course, they were denied equal political rights. जब आप इंपॉर्टेंट पोजीशंस को रिजर्व कर देते हो ओनली बेस्ड ऑन लैंग्वेज और रिलीजन, वी कैन नॉट कॉल इट टू बी इक्वालिटी. यस, हमारी कंट्री में भी रिजर्वेशन है, बट दैट इज बेस्ड बिकॉज आवर कंट्री इज लॉपसाइडेड. कुछ लोग हमारी कंट्री में शुरू से बहुत फेवर्ड हैं, तो हम तो इक्वालिटी लाने के लिए रिजर्वेशन कर रहे हैं, आप तो रिजर्व कर रहे हैं इनइक्वालिटी लाने के लिए. So they were being discriminated in getting jobs and other opportunities. As a result, the relations between the Sinhala and Tamil communities strained over time. अब relations खराब होने लगे. Because say if you are living in a home, your mother, she only favors your elder brother or your elder sister and she denies you all the rights. She does not take care of you, she does not prepare your tiffin, she does not buy things for you, and everything is being done for your elder brother. You will develop a feeling of hatred for your sibling, for your mother as well. So when we are living in a nation, the nation is a family, we all are the son of the same soil. Government is the caretaker. The caretaker is having a different approach towards different section. So what happens? A feeling of hatred starts developing between the people and also a feeling of hatred against the caretaker, that is the government. Now every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The same thing happened in Sri Lanka. If you suppress someone for long, there has to be a boom, there has to be a blast. If you keep suppressing your feelings for long, one day you went out everything. And then when you went out, that is very loud. That is very radical in nature, and the same thing happened in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan Tamils launched parties and struggles. So started a movement, struggle, protest for the recognition of Tamil as an official language, for regional autonomy, that is freedom, and equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs. तो जो आप सिन्हालास के लिए कर रहे हैं वही आप हमारे लिए भी कर ली. But their demand for more autonomy to province, that is a state, populated by the Tamils was repeatedly denied. So government was clearly giving an indication that you people are alien, you are minority, stay like minority. आपके पास बहुत कम rights हैं. By 1980s, several political organizations were formed demanding an independent Tamil Elam, that is a state, in northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka. और ये डिस्ट्रस्ट इतना बढ़ गया ये दो कम्युनिटीज़ के बीच में, सिन्हाला एंड तमिल्स के बीच में, इट लेड टू अ सिविल वॉर. सिविल वॉर का मतलब होता है व्हेन द पीपल दे फाइट अमंगस्ट देमसेल्व्स, अ वायलेंट कन्फ्लिक्ट बिटवीन अपोजिंग ग्रुप्स विद इन अ कंट्री. एक्सटर्नल एग्रेशन नहीं, बाहर से किसी ने आप पे अटैक नहीं किया, आपस में ही लोग लड़ गए हैं. दैट इज अ सिविल वॉर. Like if someday there is an intense fight between Hindus and Muslims, unfortunately in our country, that would be called as a civil war. External किसी ने अटैक नहीं किया. और ये सिविल वॉर इतना डिसरप्टिव था नेचर में, इतना इंटेंस था that there was huge loss of life, resources, property. Many people had to leave their country. This entire mistake was of the government. Had the Sri Lankan government handled the problem in a very constructive manner, this would have not happened. But the Sri Lankan government handled the problem in a very destructive manner, and therefore harmony could not be established. So the essence is, if you share power, people start feeling participated, and when they feel participated, then the government is able to function smoothly. आप पावर शेयर करेंगे तो पीपल पार्टिसिपेटेड फील करते हैं. अगर आप पावर शेयर नहीं करेंगे तो उन्हें ऐसा लगेगा दैट दे आर इन अ स्ट्रेंज नेशन, वो बाहर के हैं. एंड दैट हैपेंड इन श्रीलंका. आई होप आई एम क्लियर विद दिस. द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज accommodation in Belgium. I'll only explain you the gist, I'll not deal here line by line analysis. In Belgium also, you have already read, there was a complex problem, Dutch and French. In capital city, one was more in number, in the other states the other was more in number. The Belgium government took a very innovative approach towards this. They gave equal representation to both the communities in the parliament, and they also established a third level of government which came to be known as community government. And in community government, they both had equal representation, lower level पे भी था. तो जब इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन दे दिया, आपने पावर शेयरिंग इक्वल कर दी, तो जब पावर शेयरिंग इक्वल कर दी तो लोगों को लगा कि ठीक है हम तो पार्टिसिपेटेड फील कर रहे हैं, एंड द कंट्री रन वेरी सक्सेसफुली. और जो कम्युनिटी गवर्नमेंट बनाई थी उसमें द कम्युनिटी गवर्नमेंट इज इलेक्टेड बाय पीपल बिलोंगिंग टू वन लैंग्वेज, डच या फ्रेंच या जर्मन स्पीकिंग, नो मैटर वेयर दे लिव. तो तीनों के पास पावर हो गए, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास अपना पावर है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास अपना पावर है, सेंट्रल लोकल लेवल गवर्नमेंट के पास अपना पावर है, और सारी कम्युनिटीज को क्या कर दिया, जो डच और फ्रेंच थे उनको इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन दे दिया. दैट मीन्स इक्वल पावर शेयरिंग. So when the government of the country is so wise and believes in equal power sharing, it leads to harmony among people because you feel participated. So two different ways of handling conflict. Conflict बेल्जियम में भी था और conflict श्रीलंका में भी था. बट श्रीलंका की गवर्नमेंट ने इस conflict को बहुत डिस्ट्रक्टिवली हैंडल किया, तो सिविल वॉर हो गया. बेल्जियम की गवर्नमेंट ने इस कंट्री को बहुत कंस्ट्रक्टिवली हैंडल किया. The people are still living there in harmony and a very successful model of the lower level of government. So that is all for today. In the next video, we'll complete the last portion and the question answers would be discussed. Thank you students. We'll meet again in the next lecture.